So basically, my problems with religion began at 11 years old, whenever my foster mom gave me the choice to continue with church and religion or not to. And within a few hours I was able to decide that I would prefer not to continue with church, because I believed that church was about teaching you and encouraging you to be good. But I had already chose to be good at a young age, and believed that I was still on the right track and being good. So I turned my back on religion and religious education in church. Between 11 years old and 16 or 17 years old, there was no more discussion about religion between my mother and I, or no more thoughts on religion and church, etc. And basically nothing really thoughts on religion at all, except for religious education class at school. And I actually took to skipping that class and sitting in the corridor on the steps in the corridor while that class was on, because I found that what I was learning, I wasn't interested in it, and it was upsetting my opinion and beliefs, what religion is and what's it for and all, because I was learning about Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden, and there was things I was learning from the Bible that made me skip religious education class from then on. So basically, for 3 years, I avoided religious education class and sat on the steps in the corridor nearby the classroom, because I wasn't interested in learning about Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden, etc. I thought it was a stupid belief, and I thought it was a cruel belief, and really a nonsensical belief that two people eating a fruit had the right to bring sin into the world. And it was how I turned my back on religious education class permanently and skipped that class every time. So that was the only thing that associated with religion between 11 years old and about 16, 17, whenever Darren Brown started to use social media, and his private life and association with religion started to become part of the relationship between his magic TV shows, etc., and my viewing, and religion had kept back into my life through him. And he had been touting himself as an atheist, and previously a devout Christian, who turned his back on the church, because obviously they're hypocrites, and they are hypocrites, because what the Bible teaches, if you go to a church when you're in need, nothing the Bible teaches is happening. Like, for example, I was having a housing crisis, so I went to the church, and if they done what the Bible tells them to do, they would have opened their door to a stranger and provided me with a place to live until I was self-sufficient, because that's what the Bible advises you to do with homeless people, open their door to strangers. So they are hypocrites. I've experienced total hypocrisy from the church, and I can understand why Darren Brown turned from devout Christian to an atheist. And I then just pondered on being an atheist, and in a 6-month period I discovered atheism, agnosticism, and Freemasons and secret societies, etc., and that you had to believe in a higher power in order to be a Freemason, and that Freemasons are charitable. So that interested me. So it swayed my opinion on religion and being an atheist more towards agnostic atheist, giving God the benefit of the doubt, because at the time life was worth living and was enjoyable and was filled with joy, and there was no complications with life that I could label life not worth it or not worth living, or that I could label God or Jesus not worth my time or effort. And giving God the benefit of the doubt at about 16, between 16 and 19, when I was pondering atheism and agnosticism, was two reasons. Freemasons required you to believe in a higher power, and I was interested in their charitable beliefs, because I always believed in putting others first. Obviously, putting others first requires you to put yourself first at some stage to get yourself on your feet. So example, put yourself first to get a decent job, to have extra income that you can then put others first with that extra income. But I always believed in putting others first, so the charitable Freemason thing made me choose agnostic atheist, but believing in a higher power, which to me would have been God. And the second reason for choosing agnostic atheist and not completely atheist and negating God altogether, I was proud of this life I'm living, and the joyful experience I was having didn't have any major or extreme problems, which would soon change. So around 19, something really bad happened, and I asked my mummy to help, and my mummy wasn't being at all helpful. She was in fact being very unhelpful, she actually was doing things that she had told me as a child that you shouldn't do to try and solve the problem, and it was making me panic and worry that she was doing something against her advice to me as a child, and I felt like she was digging a hole for me. And something bad happened between me and her, and the relationship broke down, and I ended up in a mental hospital for 9 months, being interrogated by forensics, and I never turned to God at all here in this situation. I never asked God, never asked Jesus, but I found a book on Stoicism, and I read that book on Stoicism, and I managed to recover from this horrible thing that happened, this horrible traumatic experience, and the mental illness that came with it. I was also then in denial about mental illness because I had gotten so better. I denied that mental illness is real, and this 9 months spent in the mental hospital ended at close to Christmas time. And basically what happened was, when I left the hospital, a random donor sponsored me just over £5,500, which enabled me to pack my stuff and leave my hometown for a brighter future, and to get away from the bad thing that happened. Basically, that didn't work, because I went to Spain and I wasn't able to get a job for life nor money, for love nor money. Wasn't able to get a job, could not get a job whatsoever. And I was getting upset by this, and decided to go home to Northern Ireland. And for some strange reason, I booked a flight to London instead of directly to Northern Ireland. And I landed at Stansted Airport, and I was like, right, I don't actually have enough money to fly back to Northern Ireland now. What do I do? Haphazardly, I went to the internet cafe in the airport, logged into my bank, and there was another £5,500 and donated to me. I still don't know who this donor was, but they donated a further 2 deposits in my life that were helpful at times that I needed it. I'm now at the time where I need that similar support again. And the thing about this support was this support also helped to rid my mental health problems, because I didn't have financial problems. And right now, this is where the Jesus testimonial begins. Jesus and God, or Jesus, is financially abusing me. Basically, I've been financially abused all my life by Jesus or God, and I didn't know what Jesus and God are, and what Jesus and God do, or what Jesus does. And now I know what Jesus can do and what Jesus is able to do. I have a testimonial, and it's a bad testimonial. It's bad news. It's bad reality. It's bad what Jesus has done to me, and it's bad what Jesus is still doing to me. Basically, how I discovered Jesus is real is I was experiencing coincidences, a lot of coincidences involving vehicles, clothing, hats, gloves, scarves, shopping malls, shopping shops, clothes shops, vehicles, etc., brands, businesses, clothing. I've experienced a lot of coincidences, but I still didn't catch on that Jesus and God were controlling everything, and that's why I was experiencing these coincidences. So basically, what happened then was I was standing in Soho, and I was spun around in a circle. And when I was spun around in this circle was the moment that it was revealed to me that either Jesus or God is controlling me like a robot. And then I started to discover that the coincidences I was experiencing and everything I was experiencing was because everybody was a robot. And still to this day, I don't know how many are being used as a robot at any one time. Basically what I mean by that is, are all 7 billion people a robot at the same time, or was it just for me that people in my proximity were being used as a robot, not 7 billion people at the same time? Now, relevant, because I'm probably never going to know whether it was all 7 billion people, but the testimony for Jesus it starts more recently than the stuff from the past, because basically I only turned to Jesus within the last month, and I haven't been getting much result. But the other day I placed trust in Jesus, and I says, Jesus, look, I cannot stand this abuse anymore. It is exhausting me, it's tiring me, and it is so cruel and evil and petty and scum that I can't cope with it anymore. And because I'm not a person who believes that suicide is a good idea, I think it's stupid, especially when I fought for my life against Jesus and God. I placed this trust in Jesus, and for 48 hours got free from abuse. But since I turned to Jesus, the abuse that is happening to me has become more intricate and more cruel, more evil, more wicked. So this 48 hours, fine, free from abuse, I was like, yes, maybe Jesus is actually doing something, and these people that tell me to turn to Jesus this whole time have been right, and Jesus does help. But after about 48 hours, the abuse returned, and it actually became worse abuse. When I say worse abuse, more evil, more cruel. Basically, it has become, the abuse has been becoming more evil and cruel over time, more subtle, less people and things and objects involved, a lot less things and objects involved, a lot more subtle. But this more subtle, it's like the song, all the small things, say it ain't so. So these small things that is now the abuse has turned to is actually more scary than the big things what we're abusing them, because it worries you that it's so petty, that the abuse from Jesus or God or whoever's doing it is so petty. Basically Jesus, you would think that those 48 hours would be permanent. You know, that those 48 hours experiencing Jesus as a response to the abuse, stopping the abuse and allowing me to be joyful again, would be permanent because it's Jesus, but it wasn't. In fact, then it started to become more cruel, and this past couple of days there's been threats to steal stuff from me. So basically stuff has been taken from me, but it's been returned when I've asked for it to be returned. However, last night 3 times I had stuff stolen from me, and the total value of what was stolen from me was over £30, and more than 7% of my monthly income for my mental illness. So basically Jesus and God, or Jesus last night, decided to start stealing from me, and they stole over £30 from me, and refused to return it, and even refused to return it whenever I reminded Jesus that the bad stuff that was happening to me was supporting people who are child pornography pedophiles. So basically the bad stuff that started happening to me was supporting child pornography pedophiles, and Jesus and God were controlling what was happening, controlling everything that was happening to me, and basically turning to actually stealing from me now, to actually stealing and not giving it back, because there's been numerous times where they've stolen and gave it back. However, there has been numerous times as well where they stole money from my hand and never gave it, but that was small amounts, like £1 or £2 here and there, and it was petty and it shouldn't have happened, but it didn't annoy me as much as having 3 thefts totaling over £30 happened to me last night from Jesus. And even whenever I said, look, in the first place, Jesus, all this started from discovering I'm a victim of child pornography pedophiles, and no one should ever stick up for them, never mind Jesus abusing and stealing from me in support of child pornography pedophiles. So the testimony of Jesus is a bad reality, that Jesus has started to become more cruel than he has been for the last 900 days or more, and more. For the last 900 days and more, Jesus revealed that he's in my life, and revealed that it was him and God controlling all the abuse that was happening to me. And I thought that maybe they were just using me to expose the abuse, and that's why it was so what happened was on such large scale and so open and happening in front of everyone, so everyone would know what's going on. But it appears that then it has turned to Jesus stealing more than £30 from me in one night, and on the 3 occasions that the stuff was stolen, refusing to give it back, even whenever I told Jesus that he is supporting people who are child pornographers. So there you go. This is the testimony for Jesus, that Jesus has stolen from, and today stole more just 10 minutes ago, stole more from me. Attempted to steal another £10 from me, no, another £15 from me, but only got like about £2 worth stolen from me this time. But is still stealing from me, it's Jesus stealing from a poor person. More than 7% now more than 8% of my monthly income has been stolen by Jesus. He's stolen more than 8% of my monthly income, and it's how do you describe it? Scum, vile, coward, freak. It's indescribable, and it shouldn't even be happening. There's no way that Jesus should be cruel to you and steal from you, and especially supporting child pornography pedophiles. So there we go. That's my testimony for Jesus, for the bad reality testimonial. The bad reality is that Jesus is supporting child pornography pedophiles and has resorted to stealing from me. He also got my mum to turn her back on me. So basically he took control of my mummy and made her hate me and turn her back on me at 72 years old, where she's on her way, where 80 is the average age, so there's eight years average left, and she doesn't speak to me anymore. She won't let me come to home anymore. She doesn't. She's been made to hate me, and Jesus could fix that and encourage her to take me home and to rekindle our relationship, and to ensure that I'm there for her in her old age, as I would always have been. And because she's being made to hate me and despise me and go against me, and Jesus won't do anything about it. And it's another bad reality of the testimony, is that Jesus was willing to control people supporting child pornography to attack me, but not willing to control my mummy to encourage her to take me home. Bad reality testimonial is there's another bad thing that Jesus is doing, and the sad part is that everyone tells you Jesus and God are good, and I don't see anybody telling you that they're not. Well, I'm telling you that they're not. There is no possibility to be cruel if you're good. If you're good, you won't be cruel. For more than 900 days, Jesus has been openly cruel to me. Openly cruel to me. I only found out less than 900. Excuse me, guys. Sorry to bother you. Poor and homeless. Do you have any change, please, guys? I only found out. 900 days ago that Jesus and God are real, and that it was them that was doing everything that was happening to me. And I have evidence on my Facebook that I was okay before 900 days ago, because my Facebook is evidence of what happened, and that my everything changed. Excuse me, guys. Do you have any change, please? Thank you. So the bad testimony. Excuse me, guys. Do you have any change, please, guys?
No, sorry, bro.
Thank you. Hello, guys. Do you have any change, please, guys? So basically, there's no need for Jesus to be cruel to someone. Excuse me, guys. Do you have any change, please, guys?
Sorry.
Especially whenever you tell him to stop it. Excuse me, do you have any change, please? Especially when you tell him to stop it, and it's in support to child pornography, and it's not stopping, and it's not getting any better. And I will update this testimonial soon, but this is the bad reality testimonial for Jesus, and I'm sorry that I have to tell people this, but it's true.